Hello and welcome back. This is the third and final portion of the Month of Action training. I'm Chelsea and Phil is again with me. In this video, we'll review the Foundation's legislative agenda. I thank you once again to Takeda for sponsoring the Month of Action. So while we go into details about our asks to Congress, aka our legislative agenda, a quick reminder that the most important part of advocacy is to share your story. Also, I highly recommend keeping the information about the legislative agenda in front of you during any meeting. That way you don't have to memorize it. Also, if you have any questions about this process or questions about our legislative agenda, you know that you can always send me an email and we can figure it out together. With that, I hand it over to Phil.
Thank you, Chelsea, and thank you everybody for continuing to watch our training videos and again for your participation in our Month of Action. Before I jump into our legislative asks, I just want to refocus and really hit the nail on the head of a few things that Chelsea just mentioned. Again, as you heard in the first two videos, what's key for everybody's participation is to share your story, and that's what's critically and most important. While we will review our legislative asks, please don't feel like you have to memorize them. There's plenty of information at your disposal for you to use. As Chelsea mentioned, feel free to have these in front of you so that way you don't have to memorize them. What we want to do now is just briefly go over what they are so you can get a familiar sense of them, but it's not for you to memorize or stress over about. So first, what we have on our legislative agenda is co-sponsoring HR 2905, and that is legislation that enacts a home infusion demonstration project for patients with CIDP and MMN. This is for members of the House of Representatives. There's currently a bill that has been introduced that would create this demonstration project for CIDP and MMN. Some questions about why this is helpful to the community. Many affected individuals and families have issues with struggling infusion centers, especially given the current climate where our community does not want to be out there exposing themselves because of the current pandemic. And we want to make sure that our patient community has a choice in whether they are able to be infused at home or if they want to go to an infusion suite or hospital setting. If this bill became law, what would happen is that there would be a project that would determine what the cost would be of doing it at home and hopefully lead to that permanent benefit for the community. Second, we want to encourage senators to support the inclusion of GBS in the Department of Defense peer-reviewed medical research program. I know oftentimes people will hear medical research at the Department of Defense, and it may not make complete sense. But the Senate every year on the Senate Defense Appropriations Subcommittee craft a list of eligible conditions that are related to service in the military. And for the past few years, GBS has been a condition eligible for study. By being a condition listed eligible for study, our researchers are afforded the opportunity to compete for grant funding. This list, the peer review medical research program, is only with a limited amount of conditions. There are only about 35 to 40, and the overall program is funded at $350 million. The only way that we can, again, be added to that list of eligible conditions is for a senator to put GBS back on. And the way the Senate will do that is by hearing from you, their constituents. Next, we want to talk about funding. Earlier in our videos, we talked about the importance of our work with the National Institutes of Health and the role that Congress has in funding federal agencies like NIH and CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. What we're asking for this year, for this fiscal year, is for $44.7 billion for the National Institutes of Health and $8.3 billion for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. What's important about robust NIH funding is it provides the research portfolios to meaningfully grow. We have done a lot with working in conjunction with the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Strokes, as well as the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, on increasing our portfolio and increasing the research that's being done. The more money NIH has overall, the more they're able to support our research activities. For the CDC, the more money that they have, the more they're able to provide for public awareness and educational activities. So we ask Congress to continue to support robust funding for both, as it really does make a difference for our community.
Thank you so much, Phil, for all of that great information. This slide here is just a quick summary of our legislative agenda. Again, our asks to Congress. So as Phil reminded us, we're asking our representatives to co-sponsor HR 2905 to create an opportunity, hopefully, for IVIG in-home for CIDP and MMN patients on Medicare. Then we ask our senators to include GBS on the DoD research list for special research funding opportunity. And then we ask for increases to NIH and CDC for more research opportunities and monitoring of these conditions across the country. If you have any questions about these, please feel free to reach out to me. And remember, there's no need to memorize this. Keep it in front of you during your meeting or cut and paste it into an email. And with that, we really can conclude our training. I am so glad to have you on this Advocacy Month of Action adventure with us. Don't forget to send me an email with any questions, but also just to check in and tell me how your advocacy is going. I can't wait to hear from you all, and I'm happy to help you be your own best advocate. Thank you to Phil for all of the wonderful information as we have learned more effectively how to advocate. And a quick reminder that your next step will be to peruse the training materials page, get yourself confident, and then take the leap of reaching out to your local offices of your representative and senators. In the meantime, thank you for your time and thank you for your advocacy. Good luck.
Thank you.